Hello, I am Lichbane and welcome back to Part 5 of our Journey to Northrend World of Warcraft playthrough. In Part 4, we completed Westfall, and today we will be going through our first dungeon, Deadmines. We entered the mines with our group of experienced killers, Pathalor the Night Elf, Danny John the Dwarf, Lazy Sidekick the Gnome, and Stormsdawn the Human. Pathalor was our Feral Druid tank, our DPSs were Danny John, our Marksman Hunter, Lazy Sidekick our Affliction Warlock, and myself, another Affliction Warlock. And our healer was none other than Stormsdawn, our Disciplined Priest. Because I didn't want to pull any aggro from our tank, I decided to bring in our old demon Kuplaws to help us out. As a group, we started clearing our way through the mines, getting rid of any Defias miners that we saw. While clearing out the Defias, we made sure to loot any red silk bandanas that we found. After some time, we came across a large mechanical room with the foreman of the Deadmines inside. Roxor, the mine's foreman, said that Van Cleef would pay big for our heads. He attacked us alongside two Defias watchmen. Our tank got the boss's attention while Lazy Sidekick and I applied our dots. While chipping away at the boss, our hunter picked off the extra watchman in the room. After a short time and a very easy battle, Roxor was defeated without any final remarks. With his death, the iron doors to the rest of the mines unlocked and opened. After walking through the doorway, we were ambushed by Defias miners on all sides. The commotion grabbed the attention of a nearby Defias overseer, who also joined the battle. Once we got through that initial skirmish, we made our way through the tunnels to the next area of the mines, the Mast Room. In the Mast Room, we found a group of goblin woodcarvers, as well as their leader Sneed, piloting Sneed's Shredder. Sneed is another big name amongst the Defias, as he is Van Cleef's lumber master. A heavy battle ensued that we pulled back into the doorway so as to not draw the attention of Sneed. We then went into the Mast Room proper and cleared out the remaining goblins. Once most of the goblins were gone, we attacked Sneed's Shredder. Pathalor got into melee with the Shredder, while the rest of us gave support from a distance. After dropping the Shredder to 0 hit points, Sneed popped out and started hacking away. Luckily, Sneed stayed in melee combat and left us ranged attackers alone. We burned him down fast and completed the second boss of the Deadmines. We grabbed the gnome Speckle Sprocket from the Shredder so that we could bring it back to Shoni. As Sneed fell, the doors in the back of the room opened once again, leading us to more tunnels. As we started fighting our way through those tunnels, we got to our next big leveling milestone, level 20. We fought through a bed in the tunnels that led us to another large iron door. After opening the doors, we found ourselves at the top of the Goblin Foundry, where the ore of the Deadmines is smelted down. The room was full of goblin craftsmen. We made our way down the bronze ramp to the lower foundry. While fighting through the craftsmen and engineers, they sent wave after wave of remote-controlled golems at us. During one of the larger waves of golems, our co-warlock Lazy Sidekick the Gnome was taken from this world too early. In the fight, we almost lost our tank Pathalor, but he was healed just in time. Once the fight calmed down, Pathalor revived Lazy, bringing him back from the brink of death. After that close call, we all took a second to regain health and mana before clearing the rest of the goblins. A little later, we only had a couple of goblins left, so we decided to engage Gilnid, the Deadmines' head smelter. Because of the extra enemies they could spawn in, we picked off the extra goblins before collectively attacking Gilnid. Gilnid wasn't a huge threat, he didn't deal a lot of damage, and he wasn't very hard to burn down. Just like with the other bosses, his death opened the next area of the dungeon. After leaving the foundry, we were met with another large pack of Defias. Luckily, they were mainly miners, so they were easy to get rid of. The next tunnel section was very short, but ended with an iron door that would not unlock. Luckily, the Defias left out one of their cannons with some ammunition nearby. With some searching, we were able to find some gunpowder and blow the door open. Unfortunately, this was not a stealthy entrance, and we drew the attention of Mr. Smite, the first mate of Captain Greenskin. He sent a group of Defias pirates to check out the noise. Smite noticed the second we entered combat and informed the rest of the cove that they were now under attack. After clearing the first group, we entered the ironclad cove and started running across the docks. We fought our way from the docks to a small patch of rock and dirt that connected to Van Cleef's main vessel. Just as we were going to board the ship, Mr. Smite came running down the gangway to engage us and prevent our entrance. Joined by two elite Defias Blackguard, Smite fought us with a two-handed sword. After we got him close to half health, Smite said that we were tougher than he expected and stunned all 5 of us, switching his weapon out for 2 one-handed axes. After another short time of fighting, we really pissed him off and caused him to pull out a large two-handed mace. Luckily, the hammer wasn't much of a threat as he was only able to get off 3 hits before dying. After boarding the ship's first level dock, we ran around the entire level to get rid of all the Defias before continuing to level 2. While going around the ship's deck, we found Cookie, the Murloc cook aboard the Defias vessel. Being the ship's cook, Cookie didn't put up much of a fight, and I kinda felt bad because of how much of a pushover he was. We blew him away with spells and melee hits, and then continued our journey around the perimeter. We were about to get all the way around the base before Pathalar missed the jump and fell into the musty cave water below. While the tank was making his way back up, we continued to clear enemies just at a slower pace. Once Pathalar got back, we continued to the second level of the ship to clear at our normal rate. The second level was short-lived though. It only had like 1 to 2 packs of Defias. After we finished them off, we went up the ramp to the third and final level of the Defias ship. Our first obstacle on the third level scaffolding was Captain Greenskin and his accompanying Defias. Captain Greenskin is the captain of the ship that we are on, and he is also in league with Edwin Van Cleef and the Defias. After Greenskin and his pack went down, we took a short rest to roll for loot and replenish our resources before finally confronting Edwin Van Cleef. Once we entered the top deck of the ship, Edwin came out and said that no one may challenge the Brotherhood. Once we engaged him, 2 Defias Blackguard came out of stealth to back him up. The fight went well. More Blackguards would spawn in once the existing ones went down, but we were able to manage the adds and Van Cleef without having anyone die during the fight. We finally were able to bring Van Cleef down, and with his last words, he said that the Brotherhood's cause was righteous, and that the Brotherhood would prevail without him. We picked up the head of Edwin Van Cleef, and also found an unsent letter on his body. The letter was surprisingly addressed to Baron Alexton, the city architect of Stormwind, the same man who had us retrieve his compass from his family home in Westfall. The note also seemed to have been written and sealed recently. With the dungeon being over, I teleported to Moonbrook, re-summoned my Voidwalker, and then abandoned the quests that we weren't able to complete this run. The first quest that we turned in was the Defias Brotherhood. Grindstop Mantle said that our bravery was remarkable, and that we have done a great service to the people of Westfall. He also said that this will hopefully mark the end of the Defias and the start of peace. Finally, Grind called out a salute to Lichbane, the brave and valiant defender of freedom. We then went to the top of Sentinel Tower to talk to Scout Reel and turn in red silk bandanas. She was also happy with our work, saluted us, then gave us the Scrimshaw dagger. After jumping off the tower, we went to Stormwind to turn in our final 2 quests. After arriving, we went to the Cathedral Square to deliver the letter to Alexton. He is surprised that we were able to take out a peerless fighter like Van Cleef. Now, we don't know exactly what the letter said, but after reading it, Alexton says that Edwin is still an idealist, a romantic, and consumed with revenge. Alexton followed up the letter by giving us the quest Basil Thread. He said that Van Cleef and himself were a part of the Stonemasons Guild, the ones who were cheated out of pay after rebuilding Stormwind. Van Cleef and the other Stonemasons senior members were offered governmental jobs as recompense, but out of loyalty to the other workers, he refused the job and led a riot through Stormwind. To get more knowledge on what Van Cleef was planning, Alexton tasks us with going into the Stormwind Stockade to question a prisoner, Van Cleef's old lieutenant, Basil Thread. Before getting to Basil, we have to speak to the jail's warden, Thelwater. Next, we went to the Dwarven District to talk to Shoni the Shylent to turn an underground assault. Shoni thanks us for getting him the Gnome Spreckle Sprocket and said that this gets Gnomerion one step closer to its liberation. As a reward, he gave us the Sable Wand, another wand like ours that deals shadow damage. Finally, we made our way to the Stormwind Stockade to talk to Warden Thelwater. When we arrive at the stockade, we find it in bad shape. Basil Thread has escaped along with the rest of the prisoners, and they are now holding a riot inside. Thelwater doesn't trust us and is not entirely convinced that we are on the side of Stormwind. He has a very good way to check if we are true to our word, though. He wants us to go into the stockade and talk to Thread. Then, we have to take his head and deliver it to the warden. If we end up being on Basil's side, the warden and the guards will just come in and kill us with the rest of the rioting prisoners. After we left the stocks, we found a mailbox and saw we had mail from Randall Hunter in Elwyn Forest. It was a pamphlet for riding training at the Eastvale logging camp. What I realized, though, is that we don't need riding training because we get a Summon Steed spell as a warlock. After receiving the pamphlet, we went to our class trainer at the Slaughtered Lamb Inn to pick up some overdue abilities that have been stacking up for a while now. Now, to go over all the abilities that we got from our trainer. First, for our affliction spells, we got our rank 2 life tap, as well as our rank 2 curse of agony. For our demonology spells, we got unending breath, which allows us to breathe underwater for 10 minutes, create soulstone, which allows us to store our soul and revive at our death location, demon armor, which gives us 465 armor, as well as increases our health generated from spells and effects, our rank 2 health funnel, and ritual of summoning. The The Ritual of Summoning allows us to start a ritual that creates a portal that summons party or raid members to our location. Finally, for our destruction spells, we got Searing Pain, which deals low fire damage to enemies but generates a lot of threat, our rank 3 Immolate, our rank 4 Shadow Bolt, and Rain of Fire, an area of effect spell that rains fire on our enemies, dealing 241 fire damage over 8 seconds to all enemies within a 35-yard circle. We also got the spell Summon Fellsteed, which allows us to summon Fellsteed, our first class mount. Using our new mount, we left the city and made our way towards our next zone, Red Ridge Mountains. And with that, we finally completed all of Westfall, the Deadmines, and the video. I hope you enjoyed part 5 of our Journey to Northrend Warcraft playthrough. If you feel like it, check out the channel for the continued adventure, and I will see you next time when we start Red Ridge Mountains, our next major alliance zone. Have a good one.